Hey, what's up my guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Mike Bell and this is The Practical Training Professionals. Today we're doing one of our favorite types of videos, and it seems to be one of y'all's favorite types of videos as well. We're doing one of our disassembly, reassembly videos. Today we will be doing it on this. This is the Ruger LCP chambered in 380. So with that guys, let's get right into it. So like I said guys, today we're going to be doing a disassembly, reassembly of this guy. This is a Ruger LCP chambered in 380. It's one of my favorite for a concealed carry type firearm. It's small enough to where you could fit it in a lot of very interesting positions. It's also my wife's favorite concealed carry firearm as well. It's small enough for her to feel pretty comfortable with it and use it in a lot of her, I guess you could say, tight-fitting clothes, let's put it that way. All right, so with any firearm, whenever you want to start doing any kind of disassembly or anything like that firearm, you want to make sure that it's the ammunition is removed from the firearm. So first thing you want to do here is go ahead and hit this magazine release, push that, magazine ejects. I do an inspection here, and just because there's no ammunition here doesn't mean there's no ammunition in the firearm. So what we'll do is go ahead and rack this slide back and engage the slide lock, just like so. We'll inspect down here inside the chamber to ensure that there is no ammunition inside there. And I like to do a visual inspection inside the magazine well itself just to ensure that I didn't miss anything. And so right now this firearm is cleared of its ammunition source. First thing you want to do now to begin the disassembly reassembly is go ahead and hit this slide release. All right, now the slide has been sent home, if you will. It's racked forward. Another thing that you will notice is that the trigger is now active. It's an active trigger. You can tell because the striker is in the rear position here. All right, so and that is something that you need to pay attention to. If the before you go to remove the slide, you want to make sure that the trigger is actually active. All right, now next part is pretty simple, but one thing different about this firearm between that and some of the others that you may have disassembled in the past is this actually requires a tool of some sort to release that slide or the upper receiver, whatever you like to call it. So what I like to use is my favorite unboxing knife. Again, there's a story behind this. If you watch the unboxings, you'll get the story for this. So go ahead and check that out. But there's a pin here that needs to be removed. You could do this with anything you want. I just like to use this little knife, and you pop that pin up. All right, now we're going to go ahead and remove this pin instead of this side. All right, now this slide is ready to come off of the frame of the firearm. So it's really super simple. You can just slide it off here. You just slide it right off. I'm going to go ahead and set the frame aside and show you what's going on up here with the upper receiver and the slide. So again, as in most of these pistols, semi-automatic style pistols, you'll see a few things that most of them have in common, right? They all have this, the spring, the recoil spring with the guide rail inside. So we're going to go ahead and start by removing that. I like to put a finger on it. If not, you'll end up chasing this recoil or the guide pin. You'll end up chasing that all over the house. So just go ahead and pop that up and then slide it out. And there you have it. See, so if you're not careful, all of this will end up separating and flying out. All right, so there's that. Next thing, as always, I like to just go ahead and press slide the barrel forward just a bit, lift it up, and then you can slide the barrel out. And then here's your actual slide here. So there's your barrel. Here's your slide. You can do a functions check on the firing pin here if you want to. But again, it's not super necessary for you to do that. And that's as far as we will disassemble the upper receiver. Go ahead and set that aside. Now, again, back to the frame of the firearm. This is a good opportunity for you to inspect your trigger work inside, inspect your mag well, inspect your hammer, inspect anything else like that. It's a good opportunity for that at this point. But one thing I'm telling you is if you go ahead and you clean this, and at some point during the process of cleaning it, you accidentally fire that trigger, you will not be able to get the slide back on, and I'll demonstrate that, okay? So as you know, right now the trigger has been engaged. Let's go ahead and proceed with the reassembly of the firearm. So again, we're going to take our guide rail, our guide pin. We're going to go ahead and insert the smaller of the two springs, and then take that assembly and insert it completely in the larger of the recoil springs here. Now, set that down. We'll go ahead and take our barrel, drop it into the hole here on the slide, and then drop it in, and make sure it's slid all the way to the back position. And you'll see it. You'll know whenever it's all the way back because it can't go back any further. All right, and then it's also relatively flush here across the top of the slide. Next thing, you want to go ahead and take your recoil spring. There is a hole right here in the front, which you paid attention whenever you were taking it apart, you would see it. There's a little hole right here in the front where the spring recesses. So we'll go ahead and drop that spring in there. Now, you have to depress this guide, the recoil spring, you have to depress it, and it'll sit on a little notch right here. And I'll go ahead and put a picture up here somewhere for you to see that, where this sets. And we'll go ahead and just set that in place, and it rests on that catch. All right, so at that point, the slide, the upper receiver, everything here is put back together. Now remember, I showed you that the trigger has been engaged. All right, so there are slide guides right here on the top of this frame on either side that correspond with slide guides on the top of, or on the underside of the slide itself. We're just going to go ahead and slide those on. Now, this is what I'm telling you. See, when you get to this point here, because that trigger was released, you cannot get the slide back all the way to its final position there. So it's super simple. Without inserting the magazine or anything like that, you really can just take your finger and grab the top of this hammer right here. You can go ahead and just slide that back. Once that's in the back position, you'll notice that the slide goes ahead and just slides all the way back. All right, now it's on there. So at that point, you can go ahead and input this pin, the keeper pin. There is a little wire or spring in there that ends up holding this in place. You'll notice that there's a notch. See if I can get that to zoom in. There's a notch right here on the top of this pin that fits right in there. So you'll just go ahead and push that in. It can be a challenge. You have to kind of depress that. You have to kind of come in at this angle and depress that keeper that's in there, and then it'll slide right in, okay? And then just send it home, just like that, all right? Now it's at this point, your firearm is assembled, but I like to do a functions check. So again, I always take my non-dominant hand and I rack this thing a bunch of times just to make sure that I'm not experiencing any kind of jamming or I'm feeling any kind of grinding or anything like that. Of course, I would recommend that you go ahead and clean your firearm while you're disassembling it. Otherwise, there's really no need to disassemble it unless you're doing some trigger work or anything like that. So it's at that point I'm going to do a trigger squeeze. So as always, make sure that your firearm is pointed in a safe direction and that is separated from its ammunition source. So again, we checked, right? We have no ammunition in the magazine, nothing in the mag well, and we're going to go ahead and slide that back again and inspect the cylinder, the chamber. There's no ammunition in there. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and do a functions check on the trigger. Make sure it's pointed in a safe direction. Go ahead and fire that trigger. And I like to do this at least 2 times, but I always do it 1 more for good measure. So it's at that point, this firearm has been taken down, disassembled, reassembled, and inspected for operation. There you have it, guys. Today we showed you how to effectively disassemble and reassemble the Ruger LCP chambered in .380. This guy right here. If you like what we're doing around here, the easiest way to show us that is to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It allows us to grow the channel, which empowers us to do more videos just like this. If you really like it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, turn on notifications, and share it with a buddy. Helps us grow the channel and, again, helps us to continue to create content just like this. So until next time, guys, as always, learn, defend, prevail. We're out.